Okay, now we move on to lesson 42. The temples of light rebuilt, sacred spaces, homes, and centers of renewal. Let's begin. When the old temples fell, from Kemet to Lemuria to the Magdalene groves, the sacred grid of the earth dimmed. Those spaces were not just buildings, they were frequency anchors, living sanctuaries where heaven met earth. Now, in this cycle of return, we are rebuilding them, but not of stone or empire design. These new temples rise in light, body, home, and community. Every healed soul becomes a pillar, every home a sanctuary, every gathering a temple of remembrance. 1. What were the original temples of light? Long before religion or hierarchy, temples were built as residence chambers, geometric structures that align human consciousness with cosmic flow. Atlantean crystals amplified attention. Egyptian temples were harmonic tuning forks for planetary grids. Lemurian gardens were open air temples, circles of trees and water that held pure feminine balance. And Mayan and Dogon centers, tracked by the rhythms of Sirius and Orion, guiding humanity's seasonal and spiritual cycles. Each temple had one purpose: to remind humans that they are divine instruments of creation, not slaves to it. 2. How the empire corrupted the temples. When control replaced communion, the empire turned the sacred into systems. Priests became gatekeepers, women were removed from altars, worship replaced remembrance, and fear replaced resonance. The architecture of the divine, the geometry of source, was hijacked to feed power structures rather than empower souls. But the blueprint still exists within the DNA and in the Earth's grids lines, ley lines. You carry that memory in your bones. That's why sacred spaces feel familiar. Your cells remember the resonance. Number 3, the new temples of light within and around you. The return of the temples is not about rebuilding pyramids. It's about reactivating light architecture in human form in daily living. Temple 1, the body. The body is the first altar. Each chakra is a chamber, each breath a prayer. When you walk in awareness, your aura becomes a moving temple. My body is the house of flame. My spirit is the song that fills it. Temple 2, the home. Your living space is your outer temple. It should reflect peace, purpose, and purity of energy. Cleanse with smoke, sound, light, or prayer. Design your home around the 4 elements: fire, which is candles and warmth; water, which is flow, emotion, and plants; earth, which is stones, soil, and grounding; and air, clarity, scent, and breath. Each room becomes a sanctuary, a place of remembering. And temple 3, the community. When 2 or more gather with intention, a temple forms, Every circle, classroom, garden, or healing space is an energetic structure. It doesn't require hierarchy, only harmony. When the group breathes together, the field expands. That is church reborn. Number 4, the blueprint of light architecture. All sacred structures, inner and outer, follow 3 universal patterns, which is the principle. I'm going to give you the meaning and the living practice. The first principle is alignment. As above, so below is the meaning, and living practice. Align your thoughts with your actions. The second principle is resonance. The meaning, frequency creates form, and the living practice. Speak and act in the vibration you want to live in. And number 3, purity. The meaning, clear intentions invites source, and the living practice is release clutter, judgment, and old energy before you create. When these are honored, the temple becomes self-sustaining. It needs no idol, only awareness. And here's a practice for the collective. Rebuilding the inner temple. Morning ritual. 1, stand barefoot or sit with spine straight up. Number 2, breathe and go light from above your crown. Number 3, visualize the light building columns of radiance through your chakras, red to violet. And number 4, speak aloud. I rebuild my temple in light. Every breath is brick and beam of divine memory. I am the sanctuary in the song. Here's the evening practice. Light a single candle at home and whisper, this home is a temple of peace. Every soul who enters feels remembrance. Over time, the walls of your space will hum. People will say, it feels good here. That is resonance restored. Now, this is the global grid of temples. As more awakened souls consecrate their bodies, homes, and communities, they reconnect Earth's grid points, like the return of a long silent symphony. Homes becomes node of light, circles become amplifiers, and cities begin to glow in the etheric. This network is the temple of humanity, reborn not in stone but in soul, everywhere and nowhere at once. And here's a closing reflection. The temples of life were never destroyed. They only change form. Excuse me. They live in the way you cook, breathe, teach, nurture, and create. When you live with sacred awareness, you are the priest and the pillar, the flame and the foundation. The new temples rise in flesh and song, in gardens, kitchens, and classrooms, where hearts remember and heaven builds. Okay. Now that is the end of lesson 42. And this lesson talks about the temples of light rebuilt in sacred spaces, homes, and centers of renewal. Pretty much bringing a peaceful essence in every part of daily living. From places of where you do your prayer at 3:33 on the clock. For places where you sit and you meditate and you do your worshiping. Homes where you may enter, where you feel the remembrance, as well as senses of renewal, which is communities and bringing that energy outward. Now, lesson 43 is the return of the elemental kingdoms, earth, air, fire, water, and ether restored. Again, see you on the next assignment.